This is the third and final video in the series on how I left with a Volkswagen and came home with a Ferrari and Alice Cooper's cane. The previous video showed me picking up the Ferrari at the dealership in North Carolina, and this video picks up on the drive between Atlanta and Houston, Texas. I like the comments you get at stations better about just nice car, looks good, is it fast, things like that. Because then it's about the car. What's sort of unfortunate about like that young guy this morning is, what do you do for work that you can afford it? It instantly becomes a money symbol or a symbol of wealth, status. And that's what ruins cars in a lot of ways. Imagine this. If you had some beautiful model, not only was she very attractive, but she was also intelligent and spoke 3 languages and could play musical instruments and super smart, very nice, funny, like all those important qualities. If an old guy had her for a girlfriend just because she was half his age and hot, what does that reduce her to? It just becomes a trophy. And that's the way these cars often become, are just trophies. Like, look at me. I made so much money that I can afford this car. And then that's all it is a status symbol. I don't have $10,000 Rolexes. I have friends that do, a lot of them. And they enjoy them, and that's fine. But for me, my Evel Knievel watch that's made with actual pieces of Evel Knievel's bike that he did his last jump on is much more historically significant. It's more unique. It just means more to me. And so I've always been a car guy, which means I love the machine. And that whole aspect of people coming up wanting to look at your car and that, I kind of cringe a little bit with that. It's not as bad as that Lamborghini I rented in Miami by any stretch, where, I mean, people just swarm around it. And it was not a special edition. It was just Huracan Spider. But people coming up around wanting to take their pictures, because next thing they're going to want to lean on it. They're going to want to sit in it. They're going to scratch the paint with their gaudy jewelry or belts or whatever it is. I just don't dig that at all. That's what's nice about a Porsche, is it's understated enough, still a beautiful car, but understated enough that people don't swarm around them. A car person knows what it is. Hey, that's a 911 Turbo S, or that's a GT3, whatever. But other than that, people don't just look at it for show. Yeah, every car has its stereotype. Corvettes are driven by middle-aged divorced dudes, or BMW drivers are rude and don't know how to use turn signals, or whatever it is. Cars themselves are just pieces of mechanical equipment, but they can be rolling art, but they're sometimes ruined by the people that end up buying them for the wrong reasons. So if, like, for me, I'm not buying this car because I want attention at the gas station. I'm not buying it to match my Rolex watch I don't have. I'm not buying it to show off at the golf club or tennis club or whatever rich people do. I bought it because I really love the machine. I think it's gorgeous. It sounds amazing. Now, so did the Lamborghini. It sounded and looked gorgeous too, but it was a horrible car to drive for me. I didn't fit it. It was uncomfortable, too stiff for the roads. Hated that driving experience. This is an awesome driving experience. Ferrari, like Porsche, has a lot of racing history. These machines are bred with race technology. So they're incredible performance. They have great brakes, great suspension, great engines. They're fast. Everything about them. And then it's wrapped in this beautiful body, from the Porsche's big old hips and tail to, the Ferrari's swooping lines and that kind of unique hood in this particular, the 488. And just the look of the wheels, the look of the way the headlights are put in, anything. It's just a beautiful piece of machinery that's art and performance. And when you buy them because you really love the car, that's the right reasons. But when someone buys something because it's expensive, just because it's expensive, that's the wrong reason, because then they're the asshole that's going 60 mile an hour in a $200,000 sports car in the left lane that everybody gets mad at, or the person that doesn't really know how to drive and is making a bunch of stupid mistakes, or they're, and I'm guilty obviously of having the GoPros going, but they're the person that's too busy with their camera taking selfies in it instead of focusing on driving. And yes, I know I can be guilty of some of those things too, but it's those wrong reasons. And then you see those people get out of the car and it gives you a sour taste, right? Like, that guy that got out of that car was a real prick, or that guy looked like an idiot, or he looked like a snob, or whatever it is. And it ruins the car for not only the reputation of it, but like these people that see it in the gas station and they don't want to be associated with the kind of person they saw driving it. I've met a lot of car people over the years, and I love meeting the ones that are just passionate about the car. They know the ins and outs, not just what you read in the manual, but they've driven it. They know what it's like to go 150 mile an hour on the back roads. They know what it's like to step on the brakes so hard that the tires smoke before anti-lock brakes. Those car people are awesome to talk to. But the ones that just don't get it and just buy it for show is like the guy that would come in Monday mornings wearing his $10,000 watch, and it wasn't wound, it wasn't set, it didn't even tell the time, the one function a watch has to do, and all he did is put it on like it was jewelry and forgot to wind and set it. I thought that was so sad. But what people do with their money is their business. The other unfortunate part are things like with the GT3, that the GT3 Porsches have become so desirable because of what they are as a racer's car, a driver's car. They become so popular that a lot of people are buying them just because of what it is. Now, they're not taking them to the track. They're not probably going on the back roads and really hammering it and driving it like it's meant to be. They buy it because it's a GT3 to show it off. And so now, not only do they look like douchebags driving those cars and give it a bad rep, they're also overinflating the market. And the demand goes way up, the prices go way up, and now the people that want to buy the car because they love the car can't afford them anymore because they're ridiculously high priced just because of that status demand. It's kind of sad. But regardless, like I said, people do what they want with their money. It's just, to me, it's like concert tickets. I hate seeing that it's $1,000 to get a mosh pit ticket, because the real music fans that want to be in that mosh pit, that are going to really enjoy that show and put their all into it, are not able to afford it. They sit up in the cheap seats, and instead, in the mosh pit, you have influencers that are just standing at the front fence taking pictures and video of the band the whole time. The wrong reasons, again, versus the, things like this are supposed to be filled with passion. Like, that's the reason we do these things. And it's just become a world that you have to have money to enjoy a lot of those passions. Not all of them, but some of them you definitely do. So like I said, my situation, I'm very lucky that I don't have that long to worry about saving for, or money having to last me that long. So I'm able to do something that I wouldn't normally be able to do, and a lot of people can't. But I don't feel bad about it because I'm not buying it to show off at the golf club. I'm buying it because I love the car. And the more I'm driving this thing, the more I'm loving this thing. Now, do I love it more than the Porsche, let's say? I think they're just different animals, right? The Porsche is more subtle in its styling. They're both amazing performance cars. Ferrari, you know, Italian styling is always going to look a little bit nicer. That's just the reality. And the Porsche, like I said, is probably better engineered, better thought of probably for service and maintenance. That's generally what I've found with German versus Italian vehicles. I told this to Sunshine years ago, and I think it was in my first book, that, you know, and I always go back to like cars being like girls because they're the two things that guys love most, right? Cars and women. But I was telling her, I said, Lamborghinis are kind of like the strippers or porn stars of the girl world. They're high maintenance, really high maintenance. The design is so ridiculous that they almost look silly or like caricatures of themselves, just cartoonish. And of course, we can all picture the average duck-lipped model that we see in the world today that looks absolutely ridiculous. They can break down on you at any time. They're just a mess to own. And yes, they attract attention because of their outlandish looks, just like a Lamborghini. But that attention attraction is the primary purpose of that vehicle. And it almost becomes irrelevant what's under the hood. You know, the girl could be smart, could be stupid, doesn't matter. She's just there to look that way because she's a porn star or a stripper. Lamborghini, yeah, they have a big engine and it sounds cool in that, but is that really anything more than attracting attention? It depends. Again, I'm sour on Lamborghinis. I know some people love them. I'm sour on them just because I had such a horrible experience with that one. Now, Ferraris are more, to me, the supermodels of the car world. They are just gorgeous styling, but they're more elegant than the Lamborghini, i.e. stripper and porn star. And yeah, they require some maintenance. They're not cheap to keep or maintain or anything, but they still have more something, more soul or something. There's still this racing history that goes into designing this car and building this car, and your supermodels are still, you know, they still work hard. They're still going to the gym. They're eating right. They're doing all the right things. There's more to it than just a pretty face. And again, more elegant styling than just gaudy. Porsches, to me, that's like the really hot chick next door that you would not necessarily expect, doesn't attract a lot of attention. You know, people notice her and say, yeah, she looks really good, but you don't have people tripping over their tongues so much as you do the models and the strippers. But still, like, very solid, very elegant, more understated, but a lot of thought behind it. Like, you would imagine that one being smart and educated and everything and well-spoken. And then when you get to like American muscle, the Corvettes, the Camaros, the Cadillacs, this reminds me of a girl that grew up on a farm or on the ranch that is maybe got a little bit of a twang, little southern accent, listens to country, you know, walks around in her Daisy Dukes and probably looks really great doing it. Something very charming about the simplicity in something like American Muscle or the Farm Girl. You know, still looks great. Maybe not as refined as some of the European cars or some of the city girls, but something still very appealing about it too. And really, those are the only kind of cars I'm really interested in, so I won't even bother talking about like what kind of girl is a Honda Civic, because I just don't fucking care. Since some jerk off set us back 33 minutes sitting dead still in traffic again, I went on and ordered an Alice Cooper ticket in the pit for tonight, for the concert. It'll be at the Cynthia Woods Pavilion, which is right like 2 blocks away from the hotel I'm staying, and yes, that was strategic. Knowing that I was cutting it damn close for the concert, I tried to pour the coals to this new pasta rocket everywhere I could to try to get to Houston as quick as possible. And fortunately, the K40 radar in this thing did its job. Kept me out of handcuffs. I got a shitty night of sleep in the hotel in Atlanta. I've been on the road 12 hours, and now I'm going to get to the hotel in Houston and hurry up to get over to the Pavilion 2 blocks away to see the Alice Cooper concert. Then I'll sleep. My room number in Houston was even an easy one, 918, and even though this is a Ferrari trip, Porsche 918 is one badass car. It makes it easy to remember what the hell room you're in. Checking out of the Houston hotel, and my last jaunt in this car for this trip is to back home in San Antonio. Last night was awesome. After 12 hours on the road and about no sleep, I was dragging, but I got to the hotel at 6:15. By 7 o'clock, I was at the concert in the Pavilion a couple blocks away. So I saw the last bit of Corrosion of Conformity. I got to see Judas Priest for the first time, which was pretty damn cool. Like, Alfred's getting old, he's 74 or whatever, and you know, he's not moving around like he used to, but it was really an awesome show. I really enjoyed them. And then, of course, Alice Cooper, and I was front row and center right up against the rail, which was pretty cool. Because of being in just the right place, the bassist, who looks like he may have been one of the original band members, I can't remember, I'll have to check, he threw me a pick from says Alice Cooper on it, and he signed the back. So I got that. Nita Strauss, one of the guitarists, they had 3 guitarists, which is kind of cool the way they interloop them with their solos and all that. She threw a pick toward me. I missed it, but I got it at the very end because it was like over the rail. And then when Alice did School's Out, he's got his white coattails and top hat on and stuff. And he had his cane or whatever, the white cane he always carries for that song. And he actually handed it right over off the stage directly to me. So that was pretty cool. It's like in that moment, if he only knew the influence he's had on my life. You know, I don't get starstruck. I don't care that he's famous, whatever, all that stuff. But the fact is, this guy, Alice Cooper Trash, was my first rock album, and it was a tape cassette way back, 87? I was just some boneheaded junior high kid, and I had the Rocky IV soundtrack, I think, and then I got Alice Cooper Trash because I heard Poison on the radio, and it was the first song that just grabbed me and made me feel something for music in that way. So I bought Trash, loved the album, and just been a huge fan of his ever since, because that's what got me into hard rock, was Alice Cooper. And I've seen him, how was that, 4th time or something? But it's, you know, like someone like that, to just hand something like that stick back there to me, seems so insignificant perhaps, but to me that's such a big fucking deal, because that's something that paved the way of my musical interest for my entire life and still affects me today. So that was cool. That was one of the best concert experiences. Surprisingly, my neck doesn't hurt headbanging. My throat's, I had a cough before. My throat's a bit raspy from screaming the songs the whole time, between most of Priest and all of Alice. But I tell you what, it was worth every bit. And I slept better last night than I've slept in quite a while too. I was just completely drained by the time I left that show at 11 last night. So took it easy this morning, got up, had a nice breakfast, went for a nice walk along the little river there in the woodlands. Saw the ducks or mud hens, geese, whatever they're called, and cranes. And just kind of relaxing, and picked up the car from valet and headed back towards San Antonio now. Needless to say, this has been quite the adventure for me to take a week, not even quite a week, right? A few days. Drive over to North Carolina, have some cool experiences along the way, get to North Carolina, say goodbye to the old Volkswagen and hello to the Ferrari, and then cruise on back and make that marathon drive day yesterday onto the, I say marathon, come on, it was 12 hours. Big deal. I've done 33 hours straight on a motorcycle, but at this point in life, 12 hours is a long day, and this car it's not bad for comfort. It's just the seats are firm, which means they're not going to have a lot of give, and that means that your ass is going to get a little bit sore, and you just have to kind of move around as you ride. There's not a big deal. I don't expect it to be like the Cadillac for comfort or anything, but it's reasonable. It's not bad. It's, I'd say, close to the Porsche in terms of comfort for long distance. So no complaints there, and it's driven like a champ. I had to laugh this morning when I was getting the car from valet. The couple older gals were getting in their car, and the one said, "Oh, is that yours?" And when I popped the hood to put my luggage in, she goes, "Oh, I want to see the engine," and no engine. So I can tell she's not a Ferrari aficionado, but that's cool. She was still interested in what the car had and stuff. Just being able to do an adventure like this in a car or on a bike, it takes a couple things. It does take initiative. I could have easily said, you know what, I'm just going to go to the hotel and call it a night last night after a long day of driving. But instead, I chose to hurry up, run to the Alice Cooper concert, and have a great experience at a great show and get some cool memorabilia from one of my biggest influences, if not the biggest influence in my music interests. So I'm glad I took the initiative and did that. Now there's also an element of luck, and I'm very fortunate that I'm terminal and able to not work right now. So when you compare me to normals, no, I don't have the stress of a job. I don't have that responsibility. And so that, one could say, makes my life a lot easier. But a lot of other people, the normals, they have advantages I don't. They can go to the mountains without feeling like they're going to fall over and pass out because they can't breathe. They don't have to worry about urgency and, planning out your death and your will and wondering what decision you're going to make that's going to cause your heart to explode or stop. So there's pros and cons to every situation. And just walking along the boardwalk this morning by the water, there's some gal had a little dog, and I was petting the dog, and she was talking about her story with the dog and everything. And and I can be a dog person. I am a dog person. I can be a motorcycle person or a car person. I can't be a kid person. That's just not me. But it's cool to have those commonalities and be able to chat with people with common interests like that. Everybody you meet, they have something unpleasant going on in their life at different levels, stress, whatever it is about something. And they all have a lot of good things in their life if they choose to focus there and enjoy that. And I feel like that's the biggest part, is just that perspective of knowing where to focus. Do you focus on the bad things, or do you accept them, do the best you can with them, and focus on the happiness? And I definitely choose the latter. Again, I'm lucky because the point that I'm at in life, it's forcing me to do that. Otherwise, I just sit around pouting all the time. Where's the good in that? If this is this is the last chapter of my life, why wouldn't I want it to be as enjoyable as possible? And sometimes when you meet people and they have it so good, they have their health, they have no financial stress, their job is easier, better yet, enjoyable, and they will whine about the silliest shit because they just don't have the perspective. That's why I'd much rather hang out with somebody who's been through some kind of bullshit in life, because that tends to temper them. They tend to get a better down-to-earth understanding. They don't get worried about little stuff that just doesn't matter. And some people, they have that choice and they choose not to be happy, and you just want to grab them and say, why so serious? Because it's silly. But people make their own choices, and if they choose to make poor choices that make them unhealthy or unhappy, then nobody can change that except them. I, however, choose to be as happy as I can. I just don't see any other option. Yeah, there's the whole, it could be dead any minute, I get it. But to me, that's a gift, because knowing that is what let me not work and not have to worry about saving for a future and be able to enjoy all the things I do. And maybe being happy with my situation is weird or not normal, but I just don't see any other way at this point. And who knows what the future may hold for whatever time I have left, however short that is. But right now, this is my life, and I choose to love it. I enjoy every day I get, and like the tattoo says, I live for today. And I think it's great for me personally. Like I told that kid at the gas station a couple days ago when he said he was sorry about my terminal condition, I said, don't be sorry, I've got a Ferrari. And not everybody gets a Ferrari. Right, Enzo?
For the last little bit of the drive back home from Houston, I figured I might as well roll the top back and enjoy the first convertible I've had in almost 25 years. Even with a little bit cooler temperatures here in Texas right now, and cooler is a relative term for this state, it was still a little bit warm even with the top rolled back. Now the full Sonny Crockett gear didn't exactly help keep me cool, but I'm not a big open carry fan and wanted to keep that holster covered. When you think about mileage, I probably put as much or more miles on it just driving this car home from the dealership in North Carolina as the average annual mileage it's been used since the car was built. And I'm okay with that because it's a car, its purpose is to be driven, especially a car like this. Like Ferris Bueller says, if you had access to a car like this, would you take it straight home? Neither would I. I did the same thing with the 911 when I bought it, flew to Jacksonville and drove it home. There's just something about taking that first road trip with a new vehicle. It's like building a bond with it. So I always enjoy that. You start to get to know its quirks and how it behaves and just getting familiar with it. It's going to be a new friend, right? I'm going to have this for, well, probably as long as I'll be around. And this was such an awesome adventure. I just still ecstatic about the whole experience, the driving the car, the hotels along the way, the concert. It was all just such an awesome experience. I can't say enough how glad I am I did this road trip with this car. And before long, we were back home. I had to spend a few minutes playing garage Tetris like usual, moving stuff around. And soon the Ferrari was in its new home, safe and sound, ready and waiting for our next adventure. If you haven't done so, please click the link below to subscribe, click the little bell for notifications, and let's live for today.